Hi everyone, welcome back. It's the Louis Vuitton Princess, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 tips to get the most out of your Louis Vuitton collection. Now, I'm going to give the disclaimer, because I have to do this sometimes, that these are just tips, and tips are based on my opinions. Now, everybody doesn't have to have the same opinions as me. You probably don't have the same opinions as me. That's the thing about this life that is glorious, is that we can all have different opinions. So, while I'm happy to engage with people if they have opinions that differ than mine, argue with your mother, not me, I'm not gonna go back and forth with you because you don't agree with my opinions. So, sorry. So anyways, these are 10 things that I did with my Louis Vuitton collection over the years to make my collection more successful, to make my collection a better investment. I started collecting Louis Vuitton about 8 years ago, so I'm getting up there. And my collection has changed drastically from when I first got into the brand. My first Louis Vuitton bag, as with I'd say probably 90% of people, was a Louis Vuitton Speedy 30. That was my first bag. It was a very kind of vintage, slightly beat up Speedy 30. You know, I brought it back when not gonna give the specific age, but I wasn't an adult. And so, you know, at the time it met my needs. Like, I wanted a Louis Vuitton bag, and all the girlies, you know, I was stepping on their necks because I had a Louis Vuitton bag and they were all still carrying Michael Kors. You know, that's always been my thing. So it's changed over the years. And as I kind of show you guys some of these pieces in my collections, I'm going to kind of show you what I mean by these changes, how I changed my buying. Again, brace yourself because some of these opinions are going to be controversial. The first controversial opinion that I'm going to give is to buy pre-loved. Stop buying new bags. And people always get really in their feelings when I say that, and then they say like, oh, you just don't buy new because you're broke, you don't have the money, da 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 da. Like, babe, look around. Like, I have the money. Like, that's not the reason why I don't buy new. I don't buy new because the prices of new bags has gotten so high that it's just not worth it to me anymore. The price that you're paying for the bag, it is not worth the quality, it is not worth the design, and it's not worth the legacy, okay? QDL, quality, design, legacy. What do those things mean? Well, first is obviously quality. We all know Louis Vuitton quality has gone down. I was one of the first people who talked about this many years ago. And now kind of it's a mainstream agreed upon opinion. Design. They're not really coming up with any new groundbreaking designs over at Louis Vuitton. Like, I'm sorry to say it, they're just not. Like, a lot of the designs that we're seeing are remakes of previous designs. You know, a lot of the designs they're making now, it's just not giving to me what it needs to give. And I just find it so funny that, you know, all these people all this time were like, oh, Louis Vuitton is going to start phasing into more leathers. I don't see any more leather bags being designed. I just don't. Like, it's not happening. So anyways, the last one being legacy. And I'm going to really talk about this particular piece when I talk about legacy and what I mean by legacy. What I mean by legacy is start holding bags that will maintain a legacy. If you are not familiar with this bag, this is the Richard Prince Speedy 35 that I purchased last year. And going back to talking about pricing, I paid $22.50 for this bag. That is what I paid for this bag. Most of the Louis Vuitton bags that you're going to buy on the website now are going to cost you more than $22.50. And if you're not familiar with this bag or the legacy of this bag, you might not understand the difference between it, but this is one of Louis Vuitton's most sought after and coveted unicorns. Again, designed by Richard Prince, the beautiful aquarelle watercolor. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. And when you start to talk about legacy, you start to talk about value retention. I think a lot of people, when they first get into Louis Vuitton, they just want to buy all the bags that are popular, right? They want to buy all the bags that everybody else has. And I'm not saying this again, you know, to talk down on anybody, because it's kind of just the natural progression of things. When I first got into Louis Vuitton, I started with a Speedy. Then I wanted a Neverfull. Then I wanted an Artsy. So it's like you start off just wanting to buy everything that's popular. And then your taste over time, if you stick with the brand, you're going to end up usually progressing to these types of items, these highly coveted unicorns that retain their value, that gain value. You know, these are bags that retailed around $1,500. They sell every day for $3,000, $4,000. So this is what I mean by retention. And if you're actually going to get into collecting, because again, this is, you know, these are opinions that are controversial to people. Some people just say, I'm not looking to collect. I'm not looking for value retention. I'm not looking for an investment. I just want to buy what I like. And if that's what you want to do, that's your business. But for me, I knew very early when I got into this that this was going to be a collecting thing for me. This was going to be a investment for me. So to me, those are all things that are very important. And again, this is just my opinion, but I feel like when you're spending this much money on goods as a common person, because again, I understand, I don't claim to be the richest. There are people who have more money than me. If you have the money that you can just go out and drop 2K here, 3K, 4K, 5K, and it doesn't matter how much it's worth in 5 years, that's your business. And honestly, I'm happy for you. You're winning, sis. But I'm not at that place yet. You know, I'm still working my way up. I'm not to that position yet where I just have the ability to have disposable money that, like, it doesn't matter if there's value retention. So seeing that that's where I am, I really focus on value retention. And I also buy bags that I really like. That's just a plus. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is try to avoid buying junk pieces. So I actually recently sold a junk piece. I sold my Louis Vuitton Salon. If you're interested in seeing more of that, I think I have some videos on my page about how I brought a Louis Vuitton Salon for $100 or something. And I recently sold it and I upgraded to a new salon that's somewhere in one of these cases, somewhere over the rainbow. But I recently upgraded to essentially a new salon after selling my junk salon. So I really like to stress and emphasize trying to stay away from junk pieces. So this is really the only junk piece I have left. You'd kind of say, like, is this really a junk piece? Because it looks really good from afar. It is. There is cracking on the canvas. You know, there are some issues with this piece. Now, granted, this piece worked out in my favor because this is a Louis Vuitton bag that I ended up getting for free. And I was supposed to film a video on that of how I got this bag for free on YouTube. I think people on my Instagram have already heard the story, but it hasn't made it to YouTube yet. So I'll get on that at some point. But anyways, stay away from junk pieces. They don't really hold their value unless you're getting them for very, very super dirt cheap, like $100 or less. Just kind of stay away from it because they're not going to hold their value. You're not going to ever get the resale value that you might want to get out of it someday. So it's like, avoid the junk pieces. That's just my personal opinion. And you know, now the market's gotten to the point where everything is so high, people are charging an arm and a leg for junk pieces. Like, I'm seeing bags going for like thousands of dollars that have cracks, have color transfer, have glazing issues. Like, why are you all paying all this money for bags that have all of these defects, issues, and wear? Like, I don't see it. Just save your money. Or in the case of my salon, if you're going to buy a junk piece, buy a junk piece very low and then sell it mid, and then use it to fund another version of that piece that's in better condition. That's ultimately what I did with my salon. I purchased it low for like $100. I sold it mid for $575. And then I purchased a basically new salon for, I think, like $1,100. So you got to have some strategy. The next thing that I'm gonna give, I guess tip number 3, is buy what you like. And this is a good example of that. Buy what you like. This is the very coveted and very rare Louis Vuitton multicolor fringe Speedy 25. Buy what you like. This is a bag that I get like out of all my bags, this is the bag I probably get the most hateful comments on. Like, people really get mad about this, and it's just like, I don't know, to me it's giving resentment, like it's giving jealousy, because it's just like, why are you so angry about a bag that I brought for myself? Like, why are you so mad about that? But buy what you like. And so this is a prime example of a bag. I brought it because I liked it. And you don't have to like it. Everything isn't for everybody. But it's also just like, if you're actually familiar with the brand and familiar with Louis Vuitton and familiar with the legacy of this bag, then you know that this is an absolutely great investment piece. I paid $1,200 for this bag. So again, if you're actually familiar with Louis Vuitton and the legacy, you know that this is a great investment piece. And I personally really like it because I love Louis Vuitton multicolor, and I just generally love things that are different. So it's one of my favorite bags in my collection. And you know, it doesn't have to be that bag, but it's like I just tell people all the time, like, stop trying to buy bags that are trendy, because it happens all the time. There's a bag, it's trendy, everybody runs out and buys it, and then within a year, everybody's trying to sell them, and they can't sell them because the market's oversaturated with them. Don't buy bags just because they're trendy. Buy bags because you actually like it. You actually like the style. You actually like the bag. Like, I be watching people all day long with these Neverfulls that I know are digging into their shoulder, and I'm sorry, we do slander the Neverfull over here. There will be Neverfull slander. So if you don't want to hear, I'm sorry. Like, it's not a comfortable bag to carry. Unless you put basically nothing in it, it's not a comfortable bag to carry. Like, we need to free ourselves from this lie that the Neverfull is a comfortable bag. It's not. The straps are too thin for the load of the bag. Like, the bags are big, the straps are thin, and it digs into your shoulder. But meanwhile, I see tons of people walking around with these overstuffed Neverfulls trying to act like their shoulder doesn't hurt. They got to go to a chiropractor appointment because their shoulder hurts. Like, stop buying bags just because they're trendy. Now, granted, I understand some people, the Neverfull might work for them. And again, these are just my opinions, not attacks. So if your Neverfull works for you, then that's great. I'm happy for you. I'm not a Neverfull girly. I've had them. They're always too uncomfortable for me, but it just kind of speaks to the testament of, don't buy stuff just because it's trendy if it doesn't actually work for you, as in it's comfortable for you and it matches your lifestyle. The third thing I started doing with my collection, the third thing I started doing was completing collections. So I don't have my Damier Bean mini Speedy with me right now, but these are my other 3 mini Speedies. I have the Noir, I have the Monogram, I have the Blanc, and I don't have the Damier Bean, which is super rare. I don't have that one with me right now. But completing collections, so getting the sort of full collection. So I've done that with a lot of my bags, with a lot of my pochettes, mini pochettes, etc. Complete the collections. If there's a bag style that you really like, get it in multiple prints. That's something that increases the value of your collection, having things in multiple prints, because all the time people ask me, like, can they buy my mini Speedy collection? And they feel that way because it's like, I have all of the mini Speedies. So it's something that also sort of increases the value of your collection. And no, my mini Speedies are not for sale. I love them with all my heart. But, you know, just on principle, it's something that helps your collection retain value. The next thing is special orders. So this is my Louis Vuitton special order Samir 30 in Damier Azur. Oops. Oh, sorry. It's hard for me to hold bags right now because I like injured my thumb really bad. But this is my Samir 30 special order. So I've talked about in some of my other videos, like what special orders are, what they mean. There's a lot of questions around it. But essentially, to keep it brief, a Louis Vuitton special order item is a Louis Vuitton item that was produced in a non-conventional canvas or size per somebody's request, and they paid extra for it to be done. So this is the Samir in Damier Azur. The most commonly you're going to see the Samir in Monogram. So the special orders were made in Damier Azur. They were made in damier bean, you see those, and I've seen a few that were made in epi. So this is a special order piece. Special order pieces hold their value very, 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 very well, because once again, it's like somebody sees this and they're like, wow, I've never seen a Samir and Azure. I personally think a lot of the special order pieces look the best, because I just feel like the Samir is a piece, I feel like it was made to be in damier azure. I just feel that way. Like every time I see the monogram Samir next to my damier azure, it doesn't even match. Like I really feel like this bag was made to be in this print. I just think it looks better. But nonetheless, special order pieces hold their value incredibly well because they're so unique. The next thing I'm going to talk about is artist collaborations. So here's my Yayoi Kusama Papillon. You can see my Speedy here in the back. But artist collaborations are another way to add value to your collection, because once again, this is not just a Louis Vuitton piece, it is an artist collaboration piece. I actually carried this bag when I went to the Yayoi Kusama exhibit in Washington, DC earlier this summer. It completely turned heads. Like a lot of people didn't even realize that there were Louis Vuitton Kusama bags. But this is something that also adds a lot of value to the collection, because you not only just own a Louis Vuitton bag, but you also own essentially a piece of art, and that adds a lot of value. The next thing that I'm going to share with you guys is buying pieces that are very rare. So I have the Speedy for this, but I wanted to show you the mini pochette just because I feel like I've shown you guys a lot of Speedies. So this is my Damier Paillettes mini pochette, and I have the matching Speedy. This was a very small collection that I'd say like very few people own. Like I do not see many of these at all. But this is just another example of buying what you like, buying stuff that's rare, buying stuff that not everybody has. And this kind of goes to my next point of diversifying your common bags. Of like, okay, the mini pochette is a common Louis Vuitton piece, but instead of just buying like the plain old Damier Ebene mini pochettes, buy something like this that's a little bit different, you know, a little bit less common. And so that's essentially what I did. Is I brought my Damier Ebene mini pochette for very cheap. I think like 180. I sold it for like 400 or something. And then I brought this piece for I think like 500 or 600. So again, a good example of how I sort of took a piece that was common and I upgraded it to something that was a lot more valuable. The next thing that adds value to your collection is stick with the classics. So this is the Louis Vuitton Ellipse MM. It is one of my favorite Louis Vuitton bags that I own, and monogram. It's in great shape. Stick with the classics. I purchased this bag for $375 a couple years ago. These in this condition still sell very, very high today. This is a classic piece. I'm pretty sure this one is from 1995, 96. It's a very old bag, but these absolutely beautiful traditional Louis Vuitton bags hold their value so well. I mean, so well over decades, essentially. Then the next piece I'm going to show you guys is my artsy, which kind of goes against everything that I've said, but hear me out. If you're going to buy common Louis Vuitton bags like the artsy, then make sure you're buying them under retail value. Some common Louis Vuitton bags do hold value to your collection, and it's really not the Q quality, it's not the D design, it is the L. It is legacy. And so the artsy is a legacy bag. It is one of Louis Vuitton's most popular bags. It is a legacy piece. And so ultimately I did get this artsy in a trade, so I didn't pay any money for it. And I mean, as you can see, it's in pristine condition, like pristine condition. And so it's a legacy piece. Like I do carry it, I do use it, but it's a legacy piece, and legacy pieces do absolutely hold their value. And the artsy is like one of the last pieces Louis Vuitton really put out that I would say is a piece with a strong legacy. Like a lot of these new designs do not have legacy. They're not bags that, you know, you're going to see people carrying for years and years and years to come. Like it's just not going to happen. And number 10 is get your hands on unicorns. So this is the Louis Vuitton Keep All 45. This is a unicorn piece. You guys have heard lots about this piece. I purchased this quite a few years ago for $1,025. Insanely good price for this piece. Get your hands on unicorns, pieces that absolutely everybody wants, pieces that, you know, you see the celebs, you know, Kylie Jenner, Rihanna, Travis Scott, you know, you see the celebrities carrying. You know, get your hands on these legacy pieces that people would literally sell an arm to get a hold of. And sort of as a bonus is if you can get a hold of something hard-sided. Hard-sided always adds value to your collection. This is my presidential briefcase that I purchased quite a few years ago for only $900. Pretty insane deal for this piece. But get your hands on Louis Vuitton hard-sided pieces, because if you're not familiar with the history of Louis Vuitton started originally with hard-sided trunks. So things that are hard-sided are a big part of the Louis Vuitton legacy, and they will add value to your collection. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I'm sorry if I hurt any feelings. That was not my intention. This is not, you know, to talk down on anybody. These were just my opinions. And I feel like they're very good opinions to hear if you're somebody who's really looking to get into Louis Vuitton, you know, get into collecting, and you want to make the most out of your collection. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to check me out on Instagram at the Louis Vuitton Princess. If you'd like to shop, source, or consign with me, stop by Shop LV Princess. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.